this is what we're making today. It's a piece to go in my sewing machine cover that I'm planning to do. We're going to use paper stabilizer on the back, and I'll be taking the stabilizer off at the end. So hang around, watch how I do this, and then I'll give you a few tips and tricks for things that I do. This at 14 inches, and what I'm doing is I have ironed it up really well so that I've got a crisscross in here. Hope you can see that. And then I found a paper doll pattern online, and I traced it onto heat and bond, which I've got applied to the back here. Put a little belt on my girl, and I'm just going to go ahead and peel the heat and bond off the back. If I can get it started. There we go. Alright. And you can see that is shiny, shiny on the back there. I don't need that piece of heat and bond, but I'm going to keep it anyway. And let's see. This white fabric has got a lot to be desired to it. It's been in my stash forever. It's got some staining on it. And I'm just turning, there's two pieces there. I'm just turning it so that I get what I want for the most part. And it'll wash. So there's my little dress. Super simple, super simple. Making sure it's straight and centered. And I'm just setting my iron down on here. And I'm just going to let it set for a few seconds. Maybe 10-15 seconds. Let's check and make sure that everything's ironed down. Not quite at the edges, so we'll give it another second or two. You could also do this with glue, Elmer's School Glue, or any brand. I've put a little bit into this bottle, and this bottle doesn't come with that nifty lid that's just a pin that I stuck down in there to keep it from drying out. Now my little waist piece came off. Well, that gives me a good chance to use my glue, doesn't it? This is my first time using this glue, or this glue bottle. And I did not fill it, oops. I didn't fill this glue bottle all the way up, because I kind of thought but I wanted to try it out before I did. And hopefully you can see that's just putting a little tiny glue line along there. And that's the reason that you don't move you don't iron, you just press whenever you're putting heat and bond on. So if you get it too hot, you can take your heat and bond off. Checking to make sure the heat and bond underneath is on there well. And then I'm going to use a little heat here to put my little waist sash back on there. Alright, so that's all on. And then I just used the two pieces because I didn't want to have an issue with any of that. I need something to use as stabilizer behind it. And then I'm going to put some stabilizer behind this. I'm not going to stabilize the whole block because I am going to quilt this when I'm all done. So I'm just going to stabilize behind the dress. And all this is just a plain paper stabilizer. I'm going to make sure it's all the way through, and then I'm just going to put a pin through a couple of places to make sure that the paper doesn't shift around on me. And then we're going to go to the sewing machine. So here we go. We're at the sewing machine. I've got my stabilizer pinned down to the back. All of my stuff is ironed down. And now I'm just going to start sewing with my 3.5 stitch width and my 1.0 stitch length. And we're just going to go all the way around this little dress. When you're turning, you always want to stop where it makes sense. I'm turning and I want to make sure that the outside edge of my needle is on the outside edge of my fabric. So I'm stopping my needle on the right, and then I'm just going to go ahead and follow the bottom of this around. And then if these curves were any steeper, then I would need to stop when I'm in that upper part. Let me remove that pin so it doesn't distract us from what we're doing. And for instance, I want to stop here because my curve's going to start going back the other direction. And I've got the pin or the needle stopped on the inside so that when I turn, it will still cover the entire edge. Now you could do this without heat and bond. You could actually just glue everything together. I'm stopping on the outside. I'm turning my curve. So you could glue down your pieces and use your iron, and the glue would wash out because Elmer's school glue, any of the white school glues, are usually water soluble. Double check your bottle when you buy it. more so that it stops on the right, and I'm turning that corner. And I could take another stitch there. I'm going to reverse because that went off. I'm going to take and do my little curve. Go ahead and take that string off. And you can be just as picky or not picky as you want to be. This is going to be on a sewing machine cover that I'm keeping, that's going to be in my sewing room. So I'm not going to be super picky. Okay, so now that I'm back down to this band, I really should have sewed the band on first. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back up to my normal 2.5 stitch length. And I'm going to switch this jazz over to where it does a straight stitch. And then we're going to go straight down here. And I'm going to go across. What I was trying to avoid. Stuff happens. Just fix it as best you can. I need to go up one more stitch to be right where I want to be. Heard somebody walking behind me. It was one of the dogs. Okay. I don't know where that little blue thread came from, but we're going to cut it. And there we go. Guys, so we have got it all sewn up. Best light I can get for it, unfortunately. And I said I was going to show you how to do this. What you got to do is just literally, I hold my stitch line and then I lift the paper away from it. And the paper comes off pretty easily without ripping your stitches. Over here, same thing. Even in the curve, just hold your stitch line. Watch your paper come off easily. And then you can do the same on the inside of that. It's really simple because this is a very simple stitch. But this is our little dress. And thank you for watching. Why are you beeping at me?